unfortunately, the longer I stream on Twitch, the longer I'm a streamer, the longer that I just use the internet in general, I realize that, at least in my current territory, like Austin, Texas, and this little town of streamers, everybody is essentially having a competition for who can pretend to be the goodest person the longest, and who can be the most accepting person the longest, and who can be the least problematic the longest, and who can be the least truthful the longest. And it's kind of exhausting. For 4 years of my life, I was like, okay, so this is what I have to do. And then ever since I left OTK, now that I don't really have anybody else who's going to suffer for my actions, for the things that I say, I've kind of just really stopped giving a fuck on trying to appeal to these people who make it a contest of who can be the biggest virtue cocksucker. It's truly a shame. And I'm not going to lie, Austin is a pretty blue town. It is. And I've noticed that there's kind of like this competition for who can be the furthest left. And there's a lot of infighting on the left for whoever is the furthest left is the best person on earth. But someone who's 99% left is now considered far right because, well, we're now so far left that everybody in the center is a far right extremist Nazi. And it's exhausting. And I think there's a lot of people on this earth who feel exhausted on having to keep up this facade of us pretending about issues we truly don't give a fuck about because they're issues we just really shouldn't give a fuck about. There are words that we can't say that really don't matter. Like, are you really going to tell me I'm a bad person for saying the word retard? Come on. And it's just kind of embarrassing. And I do think there is, and let's just be real, a real issue in our society where the radical far left is dehumanizing anybody who's a centralist and anybody who is right-leaning. And it's just tiresome. So this guy, I believe his name is Remnant777, made a video on how the radical left dehumanizes the right, and I would love to give this a watch. Let's get into it.
Person. You deserve to be insulted and attacked.
Holy shit, real quick. Think before you sleep. I see your ass in my chat. Great fucking content. Appreciate the fuck out of you, dude.
You are not deserving a civil conversation. This always confused me because...
Thanks, I've been a fan since just before you called Frogan a fat bitch. Which time?
I love debates. I love listening to debates online, whether that be from left-wing people or right-wing people, or simply when I watch left-wing commentators. And when I hear somebody say this, it always puzzled me. Why would you say this? You're a horrible, evil person, you don't deserve common respect or courtesy, and I'm not going to entertain a conversation with you. You're not going to convince anybody when you're accusing them of something that they don't believe, and that is obviously untrue, and you're just calling them evil, and you're attacking them, you're just insulting them. What do you hope to gain from this? And I thought about this for weeks on end. It bugged me to no end, but I figured it out. And unfortunately, I came to a very grim conclusion. You see, those statements, you're not worthy of respect or courtesy, we cannot have a civil conversation, none of that is designed to persuade you. It's designed to radicalize the people who already agree with him. If you had two commentators and they're discussing and they're talking things out, and one of them says that to the other, their goal is no longer to talk things out with you. Their goal is to simply radicalize, polarize, and isolate their own audience.
Stop. I remember I had a conversation with a creator by the name of Sip Steven, who was accusing me of being a alt-right extremist grifter. And I said, can you just explain why you're saying these words to me? Like, why do you feel like I'm doing this? And they say, I don't deem you worthy of conversation. And I want to remind you that this is a guy who I was actively platforming and helped grow his career at every step of the way. Invited him on my podcast, helped him link up with sponsors, sent people his way. And this guy was sucking Hamas Piker, Diddy, Osama bin Laden, Epstein, Baby Oil Piker's dick so hard that he decided that me, in big 2025, was not worthy of a conversation, which everybody knows who's talked to me. I'm a quite reasonable guy. But the problem is, these people want to use words, like such extreme words and such extreme rhetoric towards you, that they know that if they actually engage you in any type of intellectual conversation whatsoever, they will be proven false beyond a shadow of a doubt. And they can't risk being wrong because, well, then their entire worldview falls apart. So they just lie and say, you're too far gone. It's pathetic. Don't forget Antichrist Piker. You're right. I'll add that in as well.
I'm just trying to argue in good faith with you.
You're not arguing in good faith at all. You're over here insulting women, saying they're useless and weak, and then saying the difference of 5 pounds is going to make it so a woman can't be in the fucking military. You're one of the most embarrassing, pathetic pieces of shit that I've ever encountered.
Why are you so mad?
Because you are pathetic.
It's to paint the other person as...
Does this not sound like Hasan crashing the fuck out on Ethan and saying, "You racist piece of shit"? That's all they do.
Is an evil human being that cannot be talked to or reasoned to.
Yep.
This video is designed for people who are right-wing. Title obviously says how the radical left dehumanizes people on the right.
Yep.
But for people who are left-wing who just so happen to click on this video, I'm going to try and give examples that you can also relate to and understand. If you had two people and one person said, I care about these kids who claim to be trans, but I don't think they're trans. I think that they're simply confused. I think that they need to get some help. And the other side simply says, you want trans kids to die. You hate them.
It's because fucking Nuance is dead. And everybody's brain is like a fucking potato in a microwave these days. Nobody can understand nuance. It's like me, for example. I get called transphobic all the fucking time. Now, obviously, I'm being called transphobic by retards like Niara, who, I want to let you guys know a real fact, has tweeted out about children 2,000 times in the past 6 months. Can somebody check their hard drives? I really feel like someone should not be talking about kids that much. But I want to remind you guys that my take on transgenderism and what trans people mean is as simply as this. If you're a parent and you are giving your children hormonal replacement therapy before the age of 18, you're a horrible parent. Okay? You are. Trans kids are the product of mentally ill parents. They are. Kids should not be worrying about what gender they are at 8 years old. They should be playing with Legos. They should be playing with action figures. That's it. You do not fuck with the natural process of growing up. You let your kids make that decision once their frontal lobe is fully developed. Now, I believe that's around 23 and 25. It's a big decision to make, okay? You do not force your own agenda on a child. You do not do that, okay? Transgenders. Well, I do find the topic quite confusing. There's a lot of nuance to it. I believe that everybody should be allowed to do with their own bodies as they see fit. That is it. It's really that simple. I have no problem with them whatsoever. You do whatever makes you happy as long as you're old enough and you consent to that idea. The also idea of you can't consent to puberty, but you can consent to HRT is a insane principle and a mindset to be pushing onto children. Leave the kids alone. If you're an adult, do whatever the fuck you want. It's really that simple. I don't care. There's more that I could go into, but I think that lays the groundwork as simple enough as it is. Let's keep going here.
Because he said those things, he's not aiming to convince that person. That's not going to convince me. The right-wing person doesn't believe any of those claims.
Why don't you have this take with abortion, though? Okay, I guess we'll also talk about my abortion take. It's okay if you agree. It's okay if you disagree. I will let you guys know, 2 years ago, I was always pro-choice. More recently, I became pro-life with a little bit of nuance. Now, the nuance of that is that I believe the woman should have the right to abort their child if the child is a product of rape, incestuous nature, or if it comes at the life of a mother. Go ahead. Your body. It's your life. Do your thing. Right? But the other thing is that when you have women waiting an extended period of time, I think the time is 6 weeks. I think you should know when you're pregnant around the 6-week mark, and when your child can begin to think and have a heartbeat. I really do think aborting it is fucked up. I think a lot of kids' lives are wasted by negligence of parents, and I don't want to get emotional about the subject, but just imagining that there may have been friends or people in my life that I cared about that may not have ever been born due to the fact that their parents were not using a condom, were fucking around, and just came inside the other girl's pussy because it feels good, and then bada bing, bada boom, they're fucking dead now. That's how I feel. Obviously, you can disagree, but I just worry about potential lives being wasted, and it does make me upset. However, I'm open to everybody else's opinion, and I'm not ever going to hold it against you if you are pro-choice. That's absolutely A-okay.
That are being made against him. The sole purpose of those statements are to make it so that people no longer interact with or communicate with people who make those claims. It kills discourse because you can better isolate people and polarize people if they no longer communicate. And for my left-wing audience, let me give you a right-wing example so that
view is also pro-choice though. Well, yeah, because it's like people want to say you're either black or white, but there's a lot of nuance that exists. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of nuance to every take, right? There's not just kill babies, don't kill babies, right? It's like there's a lot of gray area. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going.
you can relate to this. If you're talking to a person and you say you're pro-choice, you say, I'm in favor of women's rights, I want them to have access to women's healthcare, it protects women and it also gives them freedom. Imagine you said those things and the other person, instead of engaging with anything you said, they simply claim against you, actually, you're a Satanist. You simply want to sacrifice babies to Moloch or Satan. You're a Satanist right now. You hate life. You want to kill innocent babies. That's all you want at the end of the day. You just hate babies. How can you talk to or communicate with a person like that? People on the right, if they truly believe those things, how could they possibly ever have a rational conversation with you? They can't. You're an evil Satanist. We can't talk to you. And it basically...
Yo, damn, why the fuck they look so good all of a sudden? Wait, this is what the far right looks like? God damn, sign me up. How do I get one of those?
Basically has the exact same effect. It's intended to have that exact same effect, but for the other side. Especially considering you don't believe any of those things. I guarantee 99% of my audience who's pro-choice, they're probably not Satanists who want to sacrifice babies to Moloch, okay? Can we agree on that? I think so. Yet I'm sure this is not the first time you've heard that talking point, right?
Of course.
That's what's happening in American politics today. And the exact purpose behind this is so that they can radicalize their own audience, because that pushes them away from honest, open communication with the other side and pushes them towards taking action. We need revolutionaries. We don't need people who can think. And I've broken it down to what literally every radical leftist does. In our train of thought, we start off with Nazi. Nazis are bad because they killed innocent people. They killed quite a few if you know anything about history. And we don't talk to Nazis. Instead, we should make them feel uncomfortable. In fact, good people will do bad things to Nazis. We're supposed to punch Nazis. But you know what Nazis are also? They're fascists. Nazis are fascists. But what is fascism, you may ask? Well, we're not really going to specify that. We're going to leave it nice and vague because we're simply going to talk about what fascism means to me. And what fascism means to me is simply whatever I disagree with that infringes on my freedoms and rights. If you disagree with women's rights to abort children, you're a fascist.
And if you're a fascist, that means you're a Nazi. So anybody who disagrees with me is a Nazi. That's crazy, bro. I love it. It's so true. It's so unbelievably true.
If you disagree with trans rights to mutilate themselves, you're a fascist. That's how their train of thought goes. And who exactly is fascist again? Literally everybody who voted for Trump.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, guys. Like, if you're a person who says we shouldn't pump children full of chemicals that are unnatural with their body and then chop their dicks off, I'm sorry, you're not transphobic. You just have common sense. Leave the kids alone. It's really that easy.
Of the American population. That is fascist. But wait, if you're fascist, that means you're a Nazi. And if you're a Nazi, it's good if bad things happen to you. You see what I'm getting at?
Absolutely.
These are the mental gymnastics they go through in order to justify violence against you. These people literally have more sympathy for child murderers, abusers, and than people who vote right-wing. And again, I want to make it clear, I literally have nothing against people who are left-wing. I enjoy talking to them. I think they're fun people. We disagree on practically everything, but I still like them. I still can be friends with them. I don't have a problem with...
If you can't communicate with someone who has slightly varied political views of you, you're insane. Like, you are absolutely fucking insane. If you can't have serious conversation with your friends, they're not your friends. They're legit liabilities. You need to have friends who you can engage in any amount of like heated debates without having a fallout. Otherwise, you are just you have a liability in your life, guys. You do.
With people who are left-wing. I want to clarify that. We are simply exploring the radical left, which is becoming much more prominent these days.
Obviously, if they have extreme views, then it's like, okay, yeah, I don't want to be friends with someone who's a fucking terrorist. Right? Right? It's that easy. But like slight disagreements, you should be able to talk these things out.
Yet take note of this. They don't overtly condone violence. They don't. That would get them banned off of YouTube, or worse, they could possibly be imprisoned because that's illegal. And the left is not known for being brave, mind you. Instead, they like to play it safe. If somebody they disagree with dies, they don't condemn it, they don't care. In fact, they're going to laugh at it. That's all they can do. That's as close to the edge they're willing to go.
Corey Comparator was a horrible person. Dying for your child does not mean that you love them or take good care of them. The Trump supporter that died was a lunatic. He was most likely a fascist, and I mean, he was at a Trump rally, man. What do you expect? Like, he probably wanted trans people to die.
When a Trump supporter dies, who cares? He probably was a fascist. In fact, let's laugh at him. Let's dance on his grave. After all, you shouldn't be made to feel safe. Hasan, for example, he overtly hates white Christians. He hates us so much that he flat out admits it would be better if they got groups than other groups.
Henry College is like doing one good thing, which is that like if you have these millionaire, billionaire, WASP fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date to other billionaire, millionaire failed daughters is like, in some respects, a little bit better.
So let's recap.
Did he get banned for justifying rape on stream? I would bet money on it that he didn't. He never got a ban for that. Okay. So he went live and justified rape and did get no punishment. Okay. Why do you think the pro-life versus pro-choice debate is so difficult to navigate? Well, it's very simple. It all comes down to like what you determine to be, when is the child's life, when is it a reality? So some people will say, oh, you're pro-life, then never jerk off ever again because you're killing millions of babies by coming. Well, okay. If that's your perspective on when a child's life exists, sure, you can have that belief. I think it's a little bit insane, but you can have that belief. But for me, I believe a child's life is in jeopardy once the child develops a heartbeat, or once the child can think. I'm sure we'd all agree aborting an 8-month child, that's just fucking murder. Like if they're 8 months, your belly's this big, and you like, that's just fucking murder. So the reason why it's hard to determine whether you're pro-life or pro-choice is, when do you think the baby's life is now in jeopardy? And depending on where you think the child's life is now come into existence, that will determine your viewpoint. And that's the big argument, and that's why it's always a gray area. When do you believe the soul goes into a human body? When do they start thinking? When do they develop a heartbeat? So on and so forth. For me, I think it's around the 6-week mark. Yeah, I think the 6-week mark is pretty fucking fair. But once again, my beliefs aren't so hard that I'm not open to discussing it further. I'd always love doing that. And I think the people who get so upset over these type of issues, to arguing over like the minute details, just need to fucking get a grip. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's keep going here.
It's not only better for us to be, they also don't care when we die, and they also get pleasure out of it. They'll laugh on your grave because you deserve it. After all, you have an evil ideology, and there's no possible way that you could believe those things and not be evil, deserving of death. Do you still not believe me when I say those things? You're going to. Not only do they laugh when we die, but Hasan openly admits that people should landlords.
Well, my understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, them. Kill those motherfuckers in a video game. Sorry.
Hasan's mother's a landlord, by the way.
Holy shit! Murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their.
Hasan just actively promoted the death of his own mother. Oh my God! Whoever this guy is just fat Hasan. What the fuck? That's insane.
They're fucking red capitalist bloods, dude. Oh my God, in a video game, of course.
Because he's a communist. He's a crypto communist. But
Absolutely.
Hasan, he's not a man of principles. He doesn't care about morality, especially when it comes to telling the truth.
I'm going to be real, guys. I don't think that Hasan believes 70% of the shit that comes out of his mouth. I think he just says it just to farm engagement. And that's the honest truth. I don't think there's anybody who can possibly be that far gone. I genuinely think he's just a fucking shill. He's a propagandist pusher. He doesn't believe the dog shit that comes out of his mouth.
Being honest is a disadvantage to these people. Now, instead, he needs to spread the good, holy Marxist spirit, even to Landlord's podcast, where he shares.
Which, by the way, I think I think that's worse. I do. Because when you're pushing these type of fucking radicalized ideologies and radicalizing your audience, and you know it's wrong to do, I think that's even worse.
His beliefs, and he does not hesitate.
He knows he's a propagandist. He said it. Yeah, exactly.
It is about equity instead of equality. That's what people misunderstand about socialism. It is not about equity instead of equality at all. We don't have material equality as a baseline in this country. We don't have that at all. I'm advocating for a baseline of material equality, and I'm advocating for better worker protections, better worker rights, and less alienation.
That's all a lie. That's a fucking lie. What he's talking about can happen in a capitalist system, and it is explicitly not what socialism is about. It's not about materially equal conditions. That's called welfare or redistribution, which capitalism can do, right?
I will say, whether you like or hate Destiny, I think we can all agree he is definitely the strongest debater on the entire platform. Yeah, I'll be real. I enjoy listening to Destiny talk, even on issues I disagree with, because the guy can really just fucking go in. The guy is incredibly researched and incredibly, like, he can talk really fast. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
You were talking.
Now, once again, you can say that you hate him. That's all good. I don't care. I'm just saying, like, acknowledging his gift as a debater is just, I feel like it's just common sense. Destiny's fine until you mention Trump to him. I got no idea. I don't really watch much of his content. I just really like watching him rant.
Specifically about getting rid of or.
Nobody tell him about yesterday? Wait, what did he do yesterday? He talked about you. Well, I mean, once again, I don't know what he said. I haven't seen any clip. And so far, I haven't been sent anything whatsoever. And I'll be real, I think if Destiny did talk negatively about me, I do think it would have been clipped and sent to me, right? So I still really don't want to go in on this ideology that, oh, Destiny was going in on you. Well, then how come I haven't seen it, right? I am well aware that Destiny has said some crazy ass shit. I understand that people who understand people who do crazy shit, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to compliment them. Like, guys, let's be real. Hitler was bad, but I heard the guy can paint. Even though somebody did something fucking horrible, that doesn't mean that now everything they've done is now completely fucking moot. So, like, even though Destiny may have said some bad things, he's still good at debating. Well, that's getting clipped. Tectone said Hitler can paint. I don't like this guy. Like, the problem is that when somebody doesn't like someone, now everything in their life is just like, you can't say or acknowledge any ability that they have whatsoever, otherwise you support them. And I think that type of black and white thinking is like, it's so exhausting. You know what I mean? Like, sure, you can hate Destiny, but the guy can debate, right? It's really that easy. All right, anyways.
Eliminating the profit, or at the very least, redirecting the profit to workers. You want to destroy private ownership because owners that don't work shouldn't be collecting money off of people that do. That's fundamentally what your belief is. And that's not even like this is what Marxists believe. This is what you believe. You said this on stream. His idea of socialism is what Republicans called socialism in 2005. Socialism is when you pay your taxes.
Socialism is just when government does more stuff. Not at all when we execute you. Keep in mind, this guy's channel is literally dedicated to teaching people how to become landlords and to become millionaires. He actively teaches people to become the things Hasan hates and advocates for the death of those people. Yet he's perfectly fine sitting down having a cup of coffee with these people, as long as it means getting the good message out there.
Imagine that. Hasan being a hypocrite in Big 2025. Who saw that coming, guys? That could have been on anybody's bingo. There's just no way.
Again, these aren't men of principles.
You call it selling out your principles. I call it f***ing winning. And that's my principle. To win as a socialist, not to lose as a socialist. That's not my principle. I don't give a f*** about principled failure. Principled failure is worth dog shit.
These people don't care about truth. They want power. They only care about winning, in their own words. And being a man of principles means you gotta tell the truth at least, right? But that only holds you back because these people, they're not honest with you about what they believe.
You have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. You want America, in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way, or places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form, while simultaneously still.
I mean, let's be real. Hasan has been shitting on Elon incessantly for months, if not years by now. And then yesterday, he's begging Elon for a collab. These people, they just have no backbone whatsoever. They have no principles whatsoever. They're all weak people just trying anything to get power. It's so pathetic.
Still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond, social democratic idea.
That's what these leftists are taught to do. That's what they actively do. They don't reveal fully what they believe. No, we gotta water it down first. Make it easier for people to digest. We water down the information so that they can be set on the right path of radicalization, which should be really concerning for you, even if you're a centrist. Because if this is the watered down message where they think it's better for you to be rich and they don't care when you die, what do they really believe? I mean, this is what they're totally fine openly admitting and showing to people.
I really don't believe that there's any way to genuinely, or anybody, I don't believe there's any way for anybody to truly exist on the far left or far right without being completely deranged. I feel like the majority, like 99% of human beings on this earth should be left-leaning or right-leaning, but when you fall to agreeance with every single extremist ideology that you can align with, I just don't think you're very smart. I think you see everything as black and white, and I don't think that's a proper way to actually judge the world on. I just feel like there's no way. You know, I feel like there's absolutely no way. You have no nuance whatsoever, and I think that makes you a weak human being. Also, Decoy Voice, what up, man?
They have no problem with this. This is not the most radical part of their message. It's not just, haha, it'd be funny if you die. It's they want you dead. They're actively working towards that goal. Look at what they're doing. They're proactively taking steps to make their own audiences not communicate with people who disagree with them. They're supposed to be rude, disrespectful, simply call you a Nazi and an evil person and call it a day. We can't talk to these evil subhumans because at the end of the day, this is language designed to dehumanize you. You're no longer a person who simply has different views or opinions on what's best for the world. No, you just are evil and you hate people. No longer do you simply believe that, hey, I think abortion is murder. I value the life of a child. No, it's you hate women. That's what these people unironically believe.
Well, I mean, yeah, I do hate women, but what does that have to do with anything? I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. They're great in the porn.
Think that transitioning children is wrong. You want trans kids to die. If you're against welfare and you think that's wasteful spending, and there are better ways to help the homeless, no, you just hate the homeless and you want them to suffer. That is what these radical leftists unironically believe about the right.
Okay, but can we agree, like, there are homeless people that are like the worst ever? Okay, like on a tier list, like I'm totally cool with the homeless people who sit outside of 7-Eleven and they have their head down and they're like holding a cup up. That's fine. When the homeless people are approaching me in my car at the stoplight and they're knocking on my window because they know it's red and I can't go anywhere, I swear to God, bro, get the fuck away from my vehicle. That shit is so uncomfortable. And the ones who like beg for money and you give them food and they get upset at you because they wanted to go buy crack. That's why I don't give money to homeless people. I give them food. Now, I will also admit, it breaks my heart to see a homeless person with a dog because I feel so damn bad for that dog. Any homeless person who has a dog, I will go into 7-Eleven. I will buy them a can of dog food, a drink, and something for them as well. That way they can both be taken care of because I feel horrible for the fucking pets. But the problem is the homeless people who intentionally go and get a pet because they're homeless and they want the animal to suffer with them and they use them to manipulate your emotions are fucking terrible, bro. Oh my God, it's so bad. Or like, you know, I will also admit, like, I will always give food to the homeless people that say, retired war vet, the fucking country was unkind to me and now I can't maintain my life. I'm just like, man, I really hope you're telling the truth, man. Here's a fucking honey bun. Oh, God.
Verbatim. It's because they're not even...
Y'all ever notice how there's no hot female homeless people? You wanna know why? Because every hot woman has the fallback of, oh, I'll just start an OnlyFans. That's why America is backwards these days. Because every hot woman has hot woman privilege. And even still, a 5 out of 10 woman can become a 10 out of 10 woman if they use a little bit of makeup. You know what's insane? Oh my God, I saw this girl on the internet talking about her weight loss journey because she lost 20 pounds. Bitch, you got liposuction. The fuck? You want us to be proud? You got surgery. The fuck are we on about? 3 liposuctions in 2 years. Put down the burger, fatty.
Just left-wing, because a left-wing person, maybe they have the ability to interact and talk to people on the right. Hey, they understand that we don't agree, but we both want what's best for the world. Not a radical leftist, though. No, they don't talk to you because their own audience decided to isolate you from them. They want them to hate you, because if they hate you, it's going to be a lot easier to lead a revolution where they execute you. They make it a point to sympathize.
You know, the most controversial moment of my career was when I took a photo of a MAGA hat, me in a MAGA hat as a joke. Do you know how many friends, they weren't friends, acquaintances I lost over me taking a photo in a MAGA hat? Come the fuck on. Are we really that weak that we can't handle someone wearing a fucking hat, supporting our president, the one who won the popular vote? Let's get a fucking grip, guys. By the way, to all you people who said that when Trump won the election, you're going to leave America, hey, what happened? You're all still here. That's crazy. I remember all y'all saying that Trump ruined the stock market. That's weird. I'm up 28%. I remember all y'all saying that World War III was going to start. That's weird. That didn't happen. I remember all y'all said that the country was going to go to shit. That's weird. Seems fine to me.
And empathize with criminals, rapists, murderers more than you. Which side is in favor of the death penalty? Not the left. They think that murderers, they're simply disturbed or unwell human beings. No, people who actually murder, they're not evil.
Gas is still fucked. I feel like gas is the same. Am I crazy? Like it's like what? $2.60. It's $2.60 for me right now. I don't know where y'all are at, but like, and I'll be real, I'm friends with many, many, many poor people. Mine's 2.5. Yeah, gas in Cali is fucking terrible. Gas is great right now. True. It was fucked before Trump. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Bro, stop bragging about Texas gas. I will just be unironic though. Like, you are wasting money by not living in Texas, right? Like Texas not having state tax. Oh, it's fucking amazing, dude.
We gotta help them. We must advocate for rehabilitation for these people. Unless you say the N-word. No, if you say the N-word, you're actually just a horrible, evil person, and there's no possible reason for it other than you're just evil. For the we gotta extend sympathy and empathy. For the racist, none is given. No, when it comes to Shiloh, because she said the N-word, they justify doing horrible, evil things to her. If you say the N-word, it is good to dox you, to steal your social security number, to swat you, to harass you, to try and ruin your life, to try and get you fired from your job so that you can't feed your children, because she's racist. Just like all white people are racist, according to them. Because remember, being killed is a good thing in these people's eyes. That's what they believe. If there was a situation where a woman, she was being murdered by a man, and that woman just so happened to call him the N-word right before she died, people would say she deserved it. In fact, people would be happy it happened to her. That's how these people's moral compasses operate. Look at these videos. Keep in mind, she literally just said the N-word, and this is what they have to say for her.
My mama would have went to that house, knocked on her door, dragged her by that skinny little blonde ponytail, and turned her every which way but loose. And then she'd be like, go get my bail money. I feel like it is time for us to start turning the other cheek, and I mean their cheek, not our cheek, okay? I think it's time for us to start showing them who the f we are.
And the fact that you did that when that little boy's parents were not around, they were not present, what kind of person are you behind closed doors? Like, I'm fearful of your children, and I hope that they get removed from your care.
That lady, Shiloh Hendricks, whatever the name is, people like her, they deserve a bullet. They really do.
Ooh.
Okay, guys, I think saying the N-word is bad, but I don't think we need to fucking justify murder on everybody who said it. Because I'll be real, the amount of times I've been called a cracker in my life, I've never once thought, yeah, I'm going to kill this person in real life now. I feel like that's a little bit insane. Everybody agrees that using racial slurs is bad, but I don't think we should fucking execute people because they've said them. Am I crazy here? Saying racial slurs isn't even breaking a law. And there's many actual crimes that don't deserve the death penalty. So I feel like making TikToks attempting to weaponize human beings to murder someone because they said a racial slur is a little bit, it's a little bit much, guys. A little bit much.
The f***ing way I would have rearranged that bitch face if I was in front of her. But I hope and pray that they find your location. And I hope they dog walk your stupid ass. And when you good and going, I hope somebody finds your grave and piss on that shit.
Again, these people think
Jesus.
that if you say one word, you deserve to be raped and murdered. When it happens to you, they will be happy and gleeful. They hate you. And look, this is negative information, really negative topic for this video. But I'm only saying this because I truly believe that this is the case. I'm never this strong or stern with what I say. And the only reason why I'm saying it right now is it's because it's the truth, and you need to hear this. These people are trying to polarize their audiences so that they hate you more, and they're more willing to do evil things against you. Because again, when they call you an evil monster that doesn't deserve courtesy or respect, it's not to change your mind, it's to isolate their own audience and to radicalize their own side. Which is really ironic if you think about it. This is the side of quote-unquote democracy. But the reason why they want to isolate their own audience and to radicalize them is because they are genuinely fearful that if they heard the other side, they would be convinced and leave them.
Like canceling these people or preventing them from showing up and pushing their message when most people don't have the ability to like push back, I think that does more good than it does harm. Nobody knows how to handle that.
Yeah, but
I wish they did.
Then we should do that,
I
right?
feel like that's very idealized.
But yeah, but that's what we're at college. It's a place for ideals, right? Don't you all have dreams? And you guys aren't old enough to have your hopes and dreams crushed yet. You should still be idealistic, right?
It used to be the opposite. I used to feel like, oh yeah, we should have every idea, bad or good, on the marketplace, and then people should debate it. And bad ideas will fall to the bottom, good ideas will come to the top. But instead, we had like 4 years of like half the population of America parroting what Trump said on Twitter.
If their own audience could think for themselves, if their own audience was genuinely exposed to the other side, they wouldn't be a radical leftist. They fear this. They don't trust honest.
This channel would be 10,000 times bigger if you picked a game that wasn't dog shit as your B-roll. Yo, Remnant777, if you want to reach out to me, man, on Twitter, I will help you grow your subscriber count by ×10 over the next 3 months. Genuinely. Your videos are great, by the way. I've watched a ton of them. They're very thought-provoking. But yeah, I feel like if you were to use better B-roll, oh man, it would be insane.
Could actually have an honest conversation with a Nazi, as they say it. They genuinely fear you would become one of them. It's very funny. They're not in favor of having a democracy that is actually informed on what the other side thinks. No, no, no. We must have a democracy that is controlled with isolated followers who are radicalized and only know to hate the people that they disagree with. Democracy where you only know one thing. Democracy where you can't hear the other side out. Democracy where you only know to hate. I mean, look at the Ethan Klein situation. Ethan Klein is your standard lefty. He engages in all of the left-wing talking points, but he only disagrees slightly with the Israel and Palestine situation. He doesn't even deny 90% of their talking points when it comes to Palestine. Yet they still hate them. They hate him so much that they literally called child protective services on him. The same guy that says that Steven Crowder is a right-wing extremist. That's how left-wing he is. Yet they still hate his guts. They hate him and his family. They want the worst for him. If his family got raped and murdered, they would be happy. And they make that clear with their words and their actions. And if they want to do that with Ethan Klein, who's practically identical to them, what does that say about you if you're even
fucking crazy?
In most revolutions and purges, even the people who are the strongest advocates of that movement tend to fall to the guillotine themselves. Because after all, if anybody disagrees with them, they're fascist. And fascists are evil Nazis. And we don't respect or show common courtesy to Nazis. We don't even talk to them. Which means not only will they remain silent when violence happens against you, no, they're going to enjoy it. That's what they're looking forward to. So at this point, if they call you a sexist, homophobe, racist, whatever, who cares? They're going to anyways. They don't want to engage in logic and reason because they're afraid of it. That's why they isolate their followers. That's why they're polarizing people. They're fearful of real conversations. Yet I want to make this clear. The point of this video is not to make you feel the exact same way towards them. Don't fall into the exact same trap. This video is not created with the purpose to isolate people, to polarize them, to kill conversations. No, I think those things are really important. And we need to call this out for what it is.
100%.
That's what you need to do. Call out what they're doing. They're radicalizing their own audiences, and this is how they're doing it. You need to understand this. I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking or gaining political power. That's what we should do, but I don't think you should do it through dishonest means. There's absolutely nothing wrong with voting in the laws and principles that you hold into this country.
Yeah, just tell the truth. Approach every new information with skepticism and have civil debates. Don't lose your fucking mind and attempt to ruin lives by calling people criminals or slurs because you disagree with them. It's very easy. Just be civil. It's really that easy.
Especially as a Christian. They hate you, and they view you as this cartoonish villain. Don't fall down that same path yourself. Do what is right. And that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed this, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always,
this might have been one of the best videos I've ever watched in the history of this platform. Very thought-provoking, very well made, very well presented. I love this shit. Great fucking video, Remnant. This really underlies the current issue with society and people being at each other's throats over things that they should just be having a normal conversation over. It's out of fucking control, and I really appreciate you uploading that. Like, comment, subscribe.